Hey Zella, do you think you're a good listener?
Yeah.
Is Poppy a good listener?
Wait. Do you do school?
No, I mean, just in general, do you think I'm a good listener?
Does Poppy listen to Mama?
What do you think?
Do you think I'm a good listener?
You're a terrible listener.
I'm a good listener.
At least when I'm talking, you're a pretty shitty listener.
What do you think?
Both of you are right.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.
So this morning, Jennifer and I were in a very familiar conversation, and it went something like this. Jennifer says, hey, tomorrow when Azella goes to school, she's got to bring her bike. It's bike day. Okay, cool. Why are you telling me? Because you're taking her to school. I have a board meeting. Yeah, okay, cool. It's just, you got to tell me about these things so I have them on my calendar so I don't schedule anything on top. We did talk about it. We had a 10-minute conversation about it 3 days ago. And I only have one of two responses. Either we did or, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't remember. Now, I need to be clear. 99.4% of our conversations and the things that we talk about stick in my head and we're fine. Everything's great. But I do want to highlight something. I'm just not a good listener. It's the one thing that I have to constantly work on every day to be better at. And I have to put a lot of effort into it. And I think a lot of it has to do with how I think. I think out loud. I think as I'm talking. So when I'm listening, my brain is talking. That's how I think. I talk and think at the same time. Listening skills are critical. I think it's the core skill that you need for everything else. If you look at a list of 21st century skills or the skills of the future, every list has problem solving, collaboration, critical thinking. I've never seen a list where listening is called out, and it should. Because if you think about it, you can't do the other skills unless you do the listening skill right. You can't really be a really good problem solver unless you work on listening. You can't be a collaborator if you don't listen. How can you possibly be a critical thinker if you're not getting all the information from someone? That's what I want to talk about in this video. This is a video more for me than anyone else. What are the things that you have to keep working on so that you can build your listening skills, so you are constantly refining your listening skills and being aware of when you're a good listener and when you're a bad listener. So the first place to start is to be honest with yourself. Are you in the right headspace to have a conversation? Are you in the right space to listen? There's a 90% chance that the conversation that Jennifer and I had about me taking Azella to school happened when she came into my studio to tell me this, and I'm engaged with whatever it is that I'm doing. I probably said, yeah, that's fine, and then never thought about it again. What I could have done in that situation is stop doing what I'm doing so that I can actually pay attention, so I can put myself in the right frame of mind to listen. You could also just say, hang on, let me finish this paragraph. Finish what you're doing and then give that person your full attention. If somebody walks into your office and says, hey, do you have a minute? I gotta talk to you about something. And everyone knows that, hey, do you have a minute? Really means, hey, do you have a day and a half? I need to talk to you about something. And you have a meeting coming up in 4 minutes. You can say, hey, listen, I totally want to hear you. I want to listen to what you have to say. I got a meeting in 4 minutes. Let me get through that meeting. I'm free after that. I got a half an hour. Will that be enough time to talk? At the very least, be conscious of the fact that you're not a good listener and be prepared to engage with the person who's talking to you. Because once you're engaged, your job is to listen. Your job is to seek to understand. Oh my God, I sound like Stephen Covey. You'll know that you're seeking to understand when you find yourself asking questions in your head or out loud. When you're identifying, clarifying questions, when you're investigating. It also shows that you're actively listening. As you're having a conversation, your nonverbal communication comes into play in a big way. Obviously, you shouldn't be checking your phone while you're talking to the person. You shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, no, that's terrible. No matter how much people try to convince you that multitasking is a real thing, it is not. So when you grab your phone, as I'm talking to you, I just stopped talking. I was at a coffee shop meeting with someone a couple weeks ago, and this is a meeting that the person asked me to attend. They pitched me an idea, I was giving them feedback, and every time her phone would ding, she would pick up her phone and look at it and then put it back. And then we'd keep talking, and then her phone would ding and she'd pick it up and look at it and then put it back. I think she thought she was being courteous by not actually reading the messages as I was talking to her. So after like the third time, I'm like, hey, listen, if you're waiting for a call from the Academy Awards, I totally understand. Why don't you do that? And then she snapped out of it and said, oh, I'm so sorry. She took her phone, put it on silent, and threw it in her purse. Most people don't even realize that they're doing it. It's beautiful in Phoenix today. We should probably do some of this outside. What's the temperature outside?
The current temperature in Phoenix is 62.
The sexiest man in the world says it's 62 degrees outside. Seems like a perfect day to go out to a protest. We're gonna go check out what's happening at the Trump rally, which is happening just a couple of blocks from here. I wanna see what it looks like down there. The helmet, it's not for the skateboard. It's for the protesters.
Welcome to the wild. It's every man for himself. Welcome to the wild. I'm crazy. You know I want you.
For every event like this, there is a designated area to protest. This is that area, and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this is what it looks like.
Lady, say welcome to the wild.
Where are all the protesters?
Later. Right there.
Maybe we need to go back to some of the things that we've done in college or high school. I was part of the argument debate class, and I remember an exercise that we used to do where you would have a debate, and the exercise was, so that you can seek to understand first, is if you're having a debate with someone, when they stop, before you can respond with your counter argument, you had to repeat what they said. You had to show that you understood their perspective and their point of view. But anyway, I don't know, at the very least we can try that with students.
Feeling like there's nothing left to lose.
All right, so back to what we were talking about in terms of listening when you're having these one-on-one conversations. You need to understand why the person is talking to you. What is it that they want out of you in this conversation? I did another video on this idea that I will post up here around understanding the difference between when someone is asking you for real feedback versus validation, because those two things are not the same thing. So you have to ask yourself, do you know what this person wants? And if you don't know, I think it's okay to ask the person, what do you want from this? And even when they answer it, you got to make sure that they're being right. They might say, oh, I want some real good feedback, and they just might want validation. Does this dress make me look fat is not a feedback question. It is clearly a validation question. You shouldn't say, yeah, you know, that dress does make you look a little fat. Like your knees look like elephant knees in that dress. I don't know what, no, not you, the dress. Wait, where are you throwing my stuff? Also, you don't want to come back with a story that you think should make that person feel better about the situation that they're in because you can outdo them. So if someone says to you, oh my God, I can't believe what happened to me today. My boss yelled at me in front of the whole team for like 5 minutes. It was terrible. You can't come back with, oh, that's nothing. Last week, my boss stabbed me in the neck with a Sharpie. Your answer is, oh my God, that's terrible. That must have been so embarrassing. You have to know how to have empathy in these conversations. Don't try to outdo the person. Doesn't make the other person feel better. I try to have 100% of all my interactions face-to-face. That's the goal. Obviously, that's not always possible, but that's the best way. I can engage, I can lean in, I can look in the eyes, we can talk. The second best way of doing this is by using technology and having a conversation face-to-face, but this time via video, whether it's Google Hangout or Zoom or some other conferencing software package, or even something as simple as Google Duo or FaceTime on your phone. But that face-to-face, where you can look at each other, where you don't get distracted. When I'm speaking on my computer, I shut down all my other browsers. The last resort is on the phone. I know we have to talk on the phone. I totally get it. I hate talking on the phone, and I can't be the only one who hates talking on the phone. We, as a civilization, we got technology to the point where two human beings can talk to each other in real time anywhere in the world. You can be in any two locations in the world and have a conversation. And what did humans say? Nah, I'd rather type it out. But you have to have these conversations sometimes. I try to do a couple of things. One is I try to use some kind of Bluetooth speaker or my computer speakers, something that gives me a lot of sound. Not on one-to-one conversations, but if there's a group conversation, I want to hear. I find the speaker audio system on phones not to be very good, and when you put it on a speaker, you can actually fill the room. You can feel like you're there. If it's one-on-one, I can talk on my headphones, I can talk on the phone, but the most important thing is I shut everything down. I put my computer to sleep, and then I use a pen and piece of paper to take notes. The reason I take notes, because I'm not a very good note taker, is I track if I'm paying attention. If all of a sudden you're talking to me for 45 minutes and I look down on my piece of paper and all I have is like the lyrics to Stairway to Heaven, I haven't probably been paying a lot of attention. All right, that's it. That's what I got. Hopefully you took something away from this. This was a good reminder for me to keep practicing these things so that I can be a better listener, because it's core to everything else. If you have tips or things that you do to be a better listener, if you want to share something that I didn't bring up, jot them down below so that we can all see them. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and please share this with others, especially those that, probably don't listen very well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.